Hello everybody, in this video I will discuss some difficult exam questions on factorization. So the question says simplify, and what you find here is that it seems as if there's two terms and then they are separated by a multiplication. So what you want to do is you want to cross multiply and cancel out. Now, before you do that, you cannot cancel out over a minus and a plus. But what you can do is you can cross cancel if there's brackets. So how do you turn an expression into a bracket? By factorization. So the first one there on the numerator, we can factorize by taking out a as a common factor, and we're left with bracket a minus 2. And then on the second one, on the 4, there's nothing you can do, but here on the denominator, we can take out 5 as a common factor, and we're left with 5 bracket a minus 2. Now that everything is factorized and multiplication right through, we can cancel. So we can say a minus 2 goes in itself once, a minus 2 goes in itself once. And then we can also say 4 goes in itself once, 4 goes into 8 twice. And then what's left? On the numerator, on top, it's a times 1 is a, and at the bottom, 2 times 5 is 10. Simplify. Now on this one, before we can simplify, again, we want to cancel out. But I want to show you here on this numerator, x squared minus 9, we find the difference of two squares. So that one we can turn into x minus 3 bracket x plus 3 over x plus 1. And then on the second term, there's two things we can do. On the numerator, we can pull out 3 as a common factor. And then here on the denominator, the minus x plus 3, that's a problem, since everything else is positive x. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take out minus as a common factor. So on the numerator on top, when we factorize, we take out 3 and we're left with x plus 1. And then at the denominator, we can take out minus as a common factor there. You can see. But remember, when you're taking out a minus, remember this sign will also change. Now it's multiplication right through, and we can cancel out. So I can say x minus 3, the whole thing cancels with x minus 3. And even here, this x plus 1, you can put a bracket around it, and then you deal with it as a unit, and you can say x plus 1 goes in itself once, x plus 1 goes in itself once. And then on top, on the numerator, can you see you're left with a x plus 3 as a bracket, and you're left with a 3. But then there's also at the denominator on the bottom, there's a minus. So now this is as if you've got an invisible plus there, and you say a plus divide by a minus is a minus. So what's left is negative 3 bracket x plus 3. And then if you want to, you can also multiply in this minus 3, and it becomes minus 3x minus 3. Minus 9, I beg your pardon. Friends. Now on this one, simplify 4 over x plus 2 divide by 8x over x plus 2. Now whenever it's a division, then you're going to change the division into a multiplication, and then always this term after to the right of the division sign changes then, and what's going to happen is you're going to tip in times. In other words, you're going to swap it around. So the 4 over x plus 2 writes with, and then you change the division into a multiplication and you swap. Now suddenly x plus 2 is on top over 8x. And then we can cancel. So now you can say the whole x plus 2 goes in itself once, and it goes into x plus 2 once. So they cancel out. And then here you can say 4 goes in itself once, 4 goes into 8 twice. So what's left on the numerator, on top is 1 times 1 is 1 over, and at the denominator you find 1 times 2x is 2x. Simplify, and then I give you another division sum. 2x over x plus 3 divide by 6x squared over 3x squared plus 9x. So again, what you're going to do is you're going to turn the division into a multiplication. So the first one we'll just write with. You turn the division into a multiplication, and you're going to swap this term, and it becomes 3x squared plus 9x over 6x. Now in the next step, on the 2x over x plus 3, there's nothing you can do. But the second one, here you can pull out 3 as in fact you can pull out 3x as a common factor. So that one writes with, and I factorize by taking out 3x, and I'm left with x plus 3. Now I can say, you can put a bracket around the x plus 3, and you can say x plus 3 goes in itself once, x plus 3 goes in itself once. And then you're left with, on the numerator, 2x times 3x is 6x squared over 6x squared. And then you can take it one step further, and you can say 6x squared goes in itself once, 6x squared goes in itself once, and you're left with 1 over 1, which is 1. Now let's look at this one. Before you can do anything, there's already a problem in your sum, and the problem is here on this denominator. This one is not in a proper descending order. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite that one into b squared plus b minus 6. Now I'm ready for the sum. So the next step, I see a division. I'm going to change the division into a times, and I'm going to swap those two around. That one writes with, division becomes times, and I swap. So it's b squared minus 4 over b squared minus b minus 6. Now in the next step, I'm going to factorize each and every term individually. B squared minus 9 is the difference of two squares. So it's b minus 3, b plus 3. And then here at the bottom, that one, when you factorize it, you say the factors of 6 are 2 and 3. I want the middle term to be plus 1. How can 2 and 3 give me plus 1? Minus 2 plus 3. Therefore, your factors are b plus 3, b minus 2. And then on the second term, that one is the difference of two squares, b minus 2, b plus 2. And then here, again, you can factorize. So you say, the factors of 6 are 2 and 3. I want the middle term to be negative 1. How can 2 and 3 give me negative 1? Plus 2 minus 3. So your factors are b minus 3, b plus 2. And now you can just go mad and say, b minus 3 goes in itself once, b minus 3 goes in itself once. B plus 3 will cancel with b plus 3. B minus 2 can cancel with b minus 2 over there. And even here, b plus 2 cancels with b plus 2. Therefore, I'm left with on top 1 times 1 is 1 over 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. The answer, 1. Simplify. So again, there's a division. The first thing you do is you change the division into a multiplication, and you swap that around. Now you deal with each one individually. So this one, when you factorize, it becomes t minus 6, t plus 1. And then at the denominator, t squared minus 1 is the difference of two squares. On the second one, the t minus 1 on top here will write with, and there you can pull out t as a common factor, and you're left with t minus 6. And now you can say, this whole bracket t minus 6 cancels with the whole bracket t minus 6. T plus 1 can cancel with t plus 1. The bracket t minus 1 will cancel with t minus 1. So I'm left with, at the top on the numerator, 1 times 1 times 1 is 1 over, and the denominator there's this lonely t. Thank you for watching my videos. Remember, there's playlists on the whole syllabus.